Hi everyone, Kim here at Olive City Homestead. Of course, I'm not, as you can tell, at Olive City Homestead today. I am actually in Reno, Nevada. Yes, it's another road trip. This one with my oldest son. He and I are actually both thinking about moving to Nevada, northern Nevada, for different reasons. Him pretty soon, me maybe in the next year or so. Big news, big change, but I've been thinking about it for quite some time and I'll fill you in on those details later. But surprisingly, here in Reno, Nevada, at least surprisingly to us, we were able to find a wonderful arboretum, the William May Arboretum, which is connected to the Rancho San Rafael Regional Park, which was originally a ranch, a 400-acre ranch that later the community was able to purchase an additional 300 plus acres. So now it's a 750-acre park that is beautiful. It has so many interesting plants and trees and so many great inspiring ideas. For me, definitely, as I look at relocating here into a different climate, it was really encouraging to see the types of plant life and trees that are possible to grow and grow very well here. But I think it will be inspiring for you too. William May was basically a Renaissance man and had a fascinating life, so we did enjoy our little museum tour. I am a real sucker for museums, it must be said. So I want to take you with me, even amidst all this blowing wind. It's still sunny and just a wonderful day here, about 55 degrees or so. Yeah, we had a hailstorm last night, but it's cleared up today, and I think you will be surprised, as we were, at just what kind of variety they have in this park, and it really encouraged me as to what I'm going to be able to grow when I move here. In fact, in driving 30 minutes to an hour, hour and a half outside of Reno, I was so happily shocked to find that there actually is the ability to have quite the agricultural setup here, so I can have the homestead that I want and yet in the winter stop, because where I live now in Zone 9B, it's perennial growing. I mean, you can grow year-round without any problems at all, which is great. It is great, but for me, it makes me almost feel obligated to do that. And so this gives me the chance to grow what I want to do, you know, all spring, summer, and fall, but then take a break and go travel, which is what I want to do in a nomadic way for the rest of my life, at least, you know, a third to half of the year, but then come back to a homestead that I have created. And Nevada was one of the places that I was thinking about, as well as New Mexico and Arizona, but having driven all around here and seeing what kind of land is available and seeing what people have been doing with the land and seeing what the possibilities are just has me super excited. So come join me on this great little walk around through the William May Arboretum here in Reno, Nevada. Originally a ranch house and a 450-acre ranch that was for cattle and sheep. Now a arboretum and housing a nice museum. Rancho San Rafael abounds with flowers of all kinds and fascinating trees in the arboretum, which I'll be showing you. Here in front of one of the old houses, we have roses and asters and rudbeckia and marigolds, pansies, just a variety of color in the middle of October. Yeah, talk about color. Even some hollyhock there. Super windy today and a little bit overcast, but still beautiful. Here we are, the Wilbur D. May Arboretum. Now let's get inside and see the amazing trees and plants they have here in this relatively small area in Reno. what an entrance. Look at these trees. Before coming to this park and this arboretum, I had no idea that growing these types of trees and plants with all of this rich color was even possible here in northern Nevada. Yellow and white roses there with a beautiful rock wall. And we have quite a mixture here of evergreen juniper type trees and evergreen bushes that blossom beautifully, and maples that are just starting to turn color. Over here, a massive orange Japanese maple. Down below the main part of the walking trails in this arboretum, you can see that they've let the water drain down into a more wild area of plant growth. There are benches scattered everywhere throughout the arboretum. It's walking trails so that you can sit and appreciate just the various different corners of quietude and color that make up this arboretum. It is really hard to describe the peace and tranquility that you feel here, and just the therapeutic power of nature that I love so much. There is a set of waterfalls here that almost masks out the sound of the nearby city noises, trains and airplanes. You could live in Reno and come here, and I would if I lived in Reno. Definitely come here regularly to immerse yourself in this. I've seen walkers and joggers here. I've seen students studying, but it's so large and there's so many trails and so many places that you can hide away. I don't think would ever feel crowded. Right now I haven't seen anyone for probably 10 minutes come anywhere in my view. So it's definitely a place that encourages just quiet rest and thinking. It's certainly something I want to incorporate into my new homestead. I want it to be a lot more than just raising food. Although that's part of it, I want the bulk of it to be nourishing to my soul and spirit, and that will be an abundance of trees and plants. Even if I start off with a blank slate of what looks like desert, I now know the potential that lies here in northern Nevada. And I do apologize to anybody from Nevada that says, well, yeah, of course. But all I had known of Nevada before this is when I would do a cross-country trip and I'd drive along the interstate and see what looked like the moon. But now that I have explored it more carefully, gotten off the interstate and gone to specific areas where there is water available, although it's not yet been used in some of the undeveloped areas, it's there. I've seen the places where people are starting to do what I want to do. Yeah, it's definitely very encouraging. As is this place here. Makes me want to put in a water feature. One of the things I learned here is their water feature does not drain in the way most do. They have a drop system, so there's a 90-degree type drainage pipe, a large one, that goes straight down and then at a right angle goes outward, and so you don't have erosion on the slope. The drainage water feeds the lower level where the wilder plants are, but it doesn't erode any of the slope. I think that's a great idea. One I'll probably use if I end up with a sloped piece of land. The walking trails here are just lined with color. I mean, it's early October, but the way they get this color, I've discovered, is they brought in a lot of trees that were native to, say, New England area, which surprises me because I didn't realize that the climate here would support them, but it does. The only thing I'm disappointed in this arboretum is the same thing I was disappointed in with the arboretum I visited in Redding, California, up north, and that is that the labels for the various plants and trees seem to have been put in so long ago that a lot of them have disappeared or seem to be rearranged and not on the proper plants, and so it is hard to know from these labels or missing labels what some of these things are. I'll have to do a little more research. The sound of the wind in these trees is just so comforting and reassuring and invigorating all at the same time. A beautiful gazebo covered in colorful vines and backed by some glorious maples and other trees. Definitely giving me some ideas of things I might want to include in my new homestead to come. Here we have a riparian area, plant life with a creek down there underneath this little bridge. This looks like a painting. It's so ruggedly wild. The other side of the walking bridge there. You almost forget that you are right in the middle of the city until you hear a noisy train or car, or here on the outer edges of the arboretum, you catch a glimpse of a big building. Once you're within the depths of the arboretum, you don't hear that. But even here, most of the time, it's quiet. Everywhere I go, I see this climbing vine. I love the colors. Anyone here have an idea what that bronze climbing vine is? I'd love to know. Here's another one. Different type of leaf, but a very similar autumn shade of color to it. There you see the green ones turning crimson and green mixture before they turn this peachy bronze. Massive trees of all varieties everywhere you look here. A gorgeous conifer grove off this way. We have flowers. Look at this variety of pinks and purples here and whites peeking out. Cosmos blooming so pretty here. Zinnia's a little past their prime. And this plant down here that I can't think of the name of, but I am growing at my property right now. Look at this tree. I love the structure of it as well as the color of the leaves, and it's got some kind of little apple on it, maybe a crab apple of some sort. There's some kind of wedding going on here, or at least wedding pictures, can't quite tell. Don't want to interrupt them, but look at that evergreen there, isn't that pretty? I don't usually go for evergreens, but again, I love the structure of this plant. Not sure if it's a wedding. If it is, I applaud the choice of dress color, bright red. Woo. Did I say it's fall here? Because it's fall here. So apparently Nevada does not mean no color, does it? Not at all. This looks very much like my purple print zinnia. Growing just fine here in this cooler climate. Oh, and another plant whose name escapes me at this very second, but I definitely grow this at my house and love it. Blanket flower. Some very pretty agastache there. I think that's coral. Peach and coral. A wild rose. Love this Gora plant. Don't know what kind of tree that is, but boy, those leaves look like peach leaves. That, I know, is some kind of lavender. Even a very young, thin tree can provide a lot of color and beauty. I tried the fruit. It is very, very tart, basically bitter. But I tried a really red one. I thought maybe it tastes like a cherry. Nope. Yeah, I tried these too. I'm a sucker for punishment. Very bitter, but love those orange leaves. Look, it's a labyrinth garden. This gives me another interesting idea. Something I can do if I get enough acreage. I would, I think, plant up the labyrinth so it had more, say, hip or waist-high plants. I think that would be more interesting. And maybe a water feature in the middle. What do you think? So thanks for joining me on this little road trip and this little walk through the Arboretum here in Reno, Nevada. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And do remember, as I am more and more right now, you can create the life that you want, so don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. See you next time, everyone.